everybody, welcome on ROEDERER TV. In France, when an employee is victim of an accident at work, leading or not to the recognition of an occupational disease, he may attempt to seek the liability of his employer as a legal person and as a natural person. In recent years, the kind of action has grown significantly, exposing firms established in France to a real risk of condemnation that is not fully transposable in other countries. It is therefore imperative, in order not to endanger the solvency of the French establishment, to provide adequate guarantees via an adapted French local policy granting the insurance guarantee named faute inexcusable de l'employeur. Any person who is victim of an accident at work, if he determines that his employer has not complied with his safety obligation, may seek to the responsibility of his employer on basis of faute inexcusable de l'employeur. The simple fault committed in safety measures taken by the employer with respect to his employees is sufficient to determine an inexcusable fault. Thus, even a minimal breach can result in a conviction on this ground. Currently, if it is a gross negligence for an employer to fail to fulfill its obligation to ensure the safety of its employee, in particular with regard to occupational disease contracted as a result of products manufactured or used by the firm, where the employer was or should have been aware of the danger and failed to take the necessary measures to protect its employee. To discharge its responsibility, the employer will therefore have to prove that it has put in place all the necessary measures to protect its employee to avoid the accident. Thus, since 2002, the number of procedures in this area has increased. It's so since it is extremely easy to operate this procedure in France. A simple phone call to the CPAM, Caisse Primaire d'Assurance Maladie, Social Security in France, is enough to initiate its implementation. No gravity of the accident in its bodily consequences is required to trigger this action. Even a small personal injury can therefore be compensated, including with a partial permanent incapacity for work of 0%. When the judicial court has been able to recognize the inexcusable nature of the employer's fault, this will open the right to compensation for a number of positions of damage. First, as soon as the PPI, partial permanent disability, is greater than 10%, this action will allow an increase in the rate of the pension paid by the Social Security in France. This increase will be paid in the first line by the Social Security and then recovered from the employer directly. Regardless of the severity of the accident suffered by the employee, the faute inexcusable will be entitled to compensation posted under ordinary law, namely healthcare expenses, loss of future professional earnings, third-party assistance, injured suffering, sexual harm, etc. This position of prejudice will be evaluated by a medical expert and transcribed in monetary compensation by the judges. On a civil level, we advise to take out a French local public liability insurance in order to provide a guarantee, faute inexcusable de l'employeur, generally between 1.5 and 3 million euros per year, depending on the type of activity of the underwriting firm. These guarantees make it possible to cover the defense costs related to the action taken by the employee, the pension increase, and the items of damages under an ordinary law. Will never be covered fines or prison sentences, the increase in the rate AT-MP, accidents at work, occupational disease, and international misconduct. On the criminal side, we also advise to take out a guarantee DNO, either locally in France or through a master contract covering an international group and all its subsidiaries, including France. To put it in a nutshell, we advise all our international clients to have a local cover in France to be covered in case of action on the basis of this faute inexcusable de l'employeur. If you have any question, our international team is here to assist you. Thank you for your attention and see you soon on ROEDERER TV.